Okay, let's answer a common question. Should you switch from Unity? If you watch a lot of game dev videos and you're a game developer, you might have probably seen a lot of our favorite game developers moving from Unity to Gadot, or a lot of Gadot developers or a lot of Unity developers making videos about how Unity screwed up by merging with a company called Iron Source, which is previously have been reported for making a lot of malicious softwares for Windows. And to keep in mind, Unity is a huge company, and honestly, the company doesn't really care about the people who are actually using it to make the games. Most thing that they care about is the money and the deals that they're getting. And I'm not particularly saying that the game engine is bad. The game engine is amazing, but the people working behind it aren't exactly that passionate about really caring about the people who are actually developing this game. They're just more about the typical usual big company guys. They don't really care about the people, they care about how the industry works. So it's kind of common for something like this to happen. But honestly, I never really expected that Unity would do something like this, because merging with a company that has such a shabby looking backstory of its own. So basically you're sort of agreeing to share data with a company like that, and this means that many of the developers and many of the users of Unity are going to be facing this thing that their data might get shared to that company as well. And this is something that I personally wouldn't like to happen to myself either. Think about it, a third-party company that has previously been mentioned for making malicious softwares has full access to your data. That's really not something everyone would be happy about. But this really begs the question, should you actually switch from Unity? Now, this is completely personal opinion, but to me, I don't really think so there's any reason for you to literally switch game engines because the company screwed up so bad. I mean, to be honest, many of the people really don't even know what kind of screwed up thing Unity has done, and many of the people don't actually even understand what's going on. But to me, that I personally, I don't even know what's going on, but all I know is that they screwed up. It's because of the drama that's been going around. Now, many of the people would be saying that you should definitely switch from Unity. They will show you reasons like it's a huge company, you're gonna have to at some point pay a certain amount of money if your game earns a certain level of popularity and money. They might even say things like that Unity is going downhill and many other things. And they might also show you excuses like Gadot engine, which is completely open source, and they might say that it's definitely better than Unity. Now, I'm not saying that Gadot is in particular bad, but it's just not quite there as Unity is right now. I mean, Unity is definitely a big tech company, and they have lots of engineers working behind it. So Gadot, on the other hand, being a completely personal project by just a few people, and it being completely open source, I get it. It gets a lot of contribution towards it, but that doesn't exactly make it better than Unity. I mean, Gadot is good. It's definitely great if you're starting off with a simple project. If you're an indie game developer, I would definitely say that Gadot is a way to go. But I would never tell you to pick up Gadot instead of Unity. Gadot is lightweight and it's pretty good in performance as well, but there are a lot of things that Gadot cannot do that Unity can do, especially the 3D games and their optimizations. The amount of optimization you're going to get in Unity is definitely not something that you'll be finding present in the Gadot game engine. I'm saying Gadot is even good for 2D gaming, 2D game development, but then again, we cannot overlook that Unity has its personal advantage with all those URP, HDRP, and those shader graph and other things. Unity is perfect for creating stylized or small indie games. So honestly, if someone is telling you that you should definitely switch from Unity just because the company screwed up this bad, I would say no, you shouldn't do that, because if you've been using Unity for a while now, you've probably been gotten used to the interface and how Unity worked. So I wouldn't tell you to literally switch game engines, because that's really not something that you should be doing unless you're a literal nerd who can adapt to every single game engine he uses and is pretty good at coding. For people like me who are not so good at coding or not so good with the game engine interface, I think Unity is pretty friendly to begin with. I mean, Gadot is also friendly. Gadot is pretty good, not gonna lie, but I would definitely not tell you to switch from Unity for a few reasons. Being Unity has a huge community, Gadot also has a huge community, but then again, Unity has more optimization, more supports, customization. Gadot is open source. Yes, there can be a lot of contribution done to it, but then again, Unity already has all those things, and Unity does it better than Gadot. If Gadot can do all the things Unity can do, it needs a lot of effort put toward it as well. I mean, I can see Gadot reach up to the level of Unity in a few years if actually all those people work together. But where Unity is right now, I would definitely not pick Gadot on top of Unity. Gadot is lightweight, so if you're working with a weaker machine, yes, Gadot is good. But then again, Unity is even lighter with the universal random pipeline on 2D gaming, even in 3D type of game development interface. Everything from the shader to every other thing, Unity has an upper hand to it. So I would say that don't really switch from Unity to some other game engine just because people are saying that the company has screwed up. It really doesn't matter with us. Like, yes, it does sort of. I guess don't upgrade your version, or Unity's probably gonna get things sorted out. So yes, I would never recommend to switch from a game engine that you're currently in, unless you're literal nerd, or you can literally catch up with the learning curve just in a few weeks or so. But Unity is overall a pretty good game engine, no matter the people working behind it. But the game engine itself is pretty good, and the people working with this engine are pretty passionate about everything. There are lots of tutorials, lots of helpful guides on how to do everything. I personally remember watching every single Bracky's videos up to this point. So there you have it. I think you should definitely not switch from Unity.